Welcome to today's Career Spotlight. I'm here with Michael Slater at Medivi's Health Support Center. Introduce yourself, please.
Good morning. My name is Mike Slater. I'm an Advanced Care Paramedic, team leader for Medivi Health Services West, Moose Jaw Central Butte.
And what kind of education and training do you need to get into this field?
There's several different levels of education. The entry level is primary care paramedic. You can take that at SAS Poly, and that allows you to apply and get hired on with an ambulance service. And then if you so choose, you can actually upgrade your training too as well, which I did. So I took the primary care paramedic, and then I actually worked for 5 years. And then I went back to SAS Poly and upgraded to my Advanced Care Paramedic.
Great. We're going to combine what your duties are and with your equipment and spaces, so we could just do a little tour as you talk through that.
Okay, perfect. So my duties is I'm an Advanced Care Paramedic team leader. So I do the traditionally duties for the Advanced Care Paramedic role, which would be the treatment and stabilization of people in trauma and medical emergencies, and the transport to the hospital as well. And secondary to that, I am a team leader, which means that there's several EMS teams that work with me, and my job is to support them logistically, operationally, day to day in our EMS service. So some of those duties would be to support deployment of EMS teams, vehicle maintenance, supply ordering, and as well as responding to emergencies with teams of anything that's very high acuity to support them in performance of the duties.
So tell me about the equipment and spaces you work in.
Okay, so this is our ambulance station here in Moose Jaw. Normally there's full both front and back bay of ambulances. We're having a busy morning, so there's a few empty spaces that are missing. The additional workspace that we deal with is the ambulance. We'll actually take a look in the ambulance. Here, so you can see. This is your typical ambulance. This is actually brand new for us. So the ambulance here, we have several what we call house kits or junk kits, whatever terminology you want to use. And this has got both of these kits have all sorts of equipment crammed in them, in the aspect of whatever we would need to provide immediate treatment and care in the house or on the scene, whether it be a medical or a trauma emergency, until we can get to the ambulance. So all these got oxygen in them, got medications, got stuff to look after people's airway, look after their breathing, to start intravenous lines, to push medications, those type of things like that. Once in the ambulance, everything here, this is a traditional type of setup for an ambulance. All sorts of equipment, every little kind of nook and space and cranny has got equipment in it. Everything from like wound care to like stopping or dressing bleeding, to these cupboards are medications and IV supplies, and so all sorts of things, syringes and needles to drop medications to give to people. This type of cupboard, for example, too, this covers all of our airway stuff, so oxygen for people if we have to actually breathe for someone, if they're not breathing on their own and we have to do that for them. It's all in this type of cupboard too as well. This is your standard stretcher. This stretcher actually locks in here. It doesn't move once it's locked in. If we unhook it and take it out and roll it, it's got a motor. It goes up and down on its own. And then people are strapped in, and this is how we transport to the hospital. This is a very universal piece of equipment. We use this a lot. And this is a LifePak 15 monitor. Different places have different types of these things, but this is a very good brand. This is kind of lots all over the place. This thing does just about everything you can think of. So we will hook this up, and it allows us to monitor someone's heart rate. We can see how fast or how slow it's going. We can see the electrical activity of the heart. We can take multi-level pictures, the same as they would at the hospital. If you're having chest pain or they think you're having a heart attack, we can do that as well, and interpret that as well. This machine will take your vital signs, your blood pressure, your pulse. It's got a special device in there too. We do something where we can attached to our oxygen delivery system, and it actually monitors the amount of gas your lungs exchange, and it'll tell us this on the machine, and we're taught to rate it. So this is a pretty universal machine, and it can defibrillate the same as an AED. It actually is an AED. It's just the kind of the big brother, because as paramedics, we're taught how to use this pretty versatile piece of equipment, and we use this, I did 99% of the time when we look after people, because it pretty much does everything. It's a very good piece of equipment.
Good. What are some likely unknown duties?
Unknown duties? Well, this is a 24/7 ambulance base, which means there is paramedics are on duty 24 hours, 7 days a week. So the only time there's somebody physically not in the building is when all crews are engaged on emergencies. So we basically live here for the time you're on shift. So there's traditional duties that you would do at your own home too as well. So every day we keep the crew living lounge clean, floors are mopped, counters are wiped down, dishes are done, that sort of thing like that, because people bring food and we've got places to cook food and all that kind of stuff like that. Ambulance duties, we're not always engaged in emergencies. We have to make sure that equipment is good to go. So once a week, every ambulance is cleaned. So we will count literally everything in here to make sure, because we have a master supply list of how much of each piece of equipment is supposed to be here. And it's replaced as it's used, but once a week we'll count it all to make sure it's there, double check all the equipment. All the equipment's double checked on a daily rotation too as well, but I'll get to that in a second. So everything's counted, cupboards are wiped down, everything's mopped, cleaned, wiped down. To be clean, it has to be the same as a hospital environment. It's pretty much a mobile hospital. So those are some of the duties we do a lot during the day, and typical like base duties, shovel snow in the winter time, those type of things like that. And then daily, every day units are checked every morning. So fluids are checked, make sure all the equipment's here that may be needed for the day, all the equipment's functioning, anything that's not functioning is made note of so it can be pulled and replaced and repaired. Same with the ambulances. If something, we always have more ambulances than we have people, and that's done for a reason. If an ambulance has to be pulled out of service for an SGI inspection or has a mechanical issue, then we can get it to the shop to be looked at and get another ambulance brought forward. So yeah, those are some duties that people may not be aware of that are done every day at your typical ambulance station.
What are some of the most rewarding aspects of your job?
Some of the most rewarding aspects, I've been doing this for a long time, 30 years. The rewarding aspect is, you're there in people's most dire circumstances. So I just find it very rewarding to be able to help people. I know it may sound like a cliche, but I find that very rewarding is to be there for people, and sometimes it's as simple as talking to someone right up to doing life-saving measures like we do. And I just find that a very rewarding part of the job is to see how we can make a difference for people in these circumstances.
And what are some of the stressors and challenges?
Some of the stressors and challenges, we're busy. Ambulance in general is busy, so there's always lots of stuff going on the majority of the time. And we do get exposed. Mentally can be very difficult. We do get exposed to situations almost have the potential that the average person would only see once or twice in their lifetime, but paramedics are exposed to that all the time. So we do have steps in place to help address our mental health and awareness. That's one of my roles, is to address crews' mental health and awareness. And there's steps in place from a local level, provincial level, all that sort of right up to whether people just need somebody to talk to, or whether they need to take the next step and seek professional help. All those steps are in place to help deal with that.
What are the salary and benefits like?
The salary and benefits, it depends on your level of education and training. The primary care paramedic, which is the entry level to work in a career-based ambulance service, the salary level for that is around $29 to $34 an hour, roughly. So after about 5 years, it's like any other job, you kind of make your way up to the pay grades, and it works out between $63 to $78 or $76,000 a year, roughly. The advanced care paramedic, because it takes more education, they're between 35 to 44, and it works out between $78,000 to $96,000 a year, roughly. And those are just base numbers, meaning the fact that because we work all hours of the day and night, depending on how your shift lines up, if you work a holiday, then You get paid more money for the holiday. There's more money if you work nights, if you end up working weekends, if you're called in on overtime, all that kind of stuff like that. So it's definitely.
So as you work your way up the ranks, what are the professional development opportunities they're all paid for?
Yes, they are actually. We are. There's lots of stuff we have to do every year. We're licensed through the Saskatchewan College of Paramedics, so every year we're licensed through our regulated professional body. So we have to take all sorts of courses, the continuing education all year long. All that kind of stuff is paid for. All licensing fees are paid for. The opportunity to pursue professional development is encouraged and paid for. So if we have a chance to take something outside those traditional realms, maybe attend a course in a different town, or maybe even a different province or wherever, then all those can be paid for as well.
And what are the opportunities in the field? Like lots of openings?
There is lots of openings. Paramedics traditionally there's a shortage right now. So it's been identified as something that's needed. So the job market is there. Also, as we move forward, is there's expansion of the job market. Our traditional role is always going to be ambulance service, but there's lots of other options out there for paramedics now too. Whether that's industrial sites, there's paramedics that work safety on mining sites, construction sites, pipelines, facilities, type of things like that. So the career aspects are very, very good.
Good. So your work-life balance, I know you work shifts and weekends and stuff, but how does your shifts line up with days off?
Okay, so usually we work a block system, so we work so many days on and get so many days off. The days on, traditionally we work 12-hour shifts, so it all depends. And sometimes you start at 6, sometimes you start at 10. It depends on what car you're assigned to. And then you'll work that 12-hour shift, and then you'll, for so many days in a row, sometimes a combination of days, sometimes days and nights. So you may work a 12-hour day shift and then switch over to a couple 12-hour night shifts. And then, so it works out to the way our block system works. We work a 4-5-5-4 system. So the easiest way to explain it is we work 4 days on, get 5 days off, work 5 days on, get 4 days off. And it rotates through the calendar month like that. So the work-life balance can be challenging sometimes, but very self-rewarding. And the fact you work 12-hour shifts, you work a combination of days, nights, holidays, weather, it doesn't really matter, right? When your shift is your shift. And also it's the type of work where if your shift is done at 5:30, we can't just shut the lights off and log off the computer and leave. If something happens at 5:30 at night and you're the car that's the ambulance that's assigned to attend to that, and you attend to that, and so sometimes you could end up late going home, and we do some standby too as well. So you may go home and then may have to come back in if they get busy. Try to limit that as much as we can, but so yeah, so their work-life balance is there, but it's like anything else. It's such a rewarding career. It's something you get used to, right? So.
Well, thank you, Michael. I'm sure the students will appreciate the information.
Absolutely, and if anybody wants more information, they can feel free to contact me or anybody down here, or if you're in Moose Jaw or driving by or you want to stop and say hi or see the ambulances, then by all means stop by anytime.
Great, thank you.